But starting with VIVIDA. PHIVIDA is a very, very interesting company. They are a CBD-infused drink and supplement company out in the States. They had a few really, really big news releases in the last few days. Those that have been following them would have been reading them. But to start off, it was February 6th. They announced Michael Cornwell. Michael Cornwell was the CFO at Samsung and at Microsoft, the chief marketing operator. So huge background in marketing. He's done it before, and he was also the marketing director at Red Bull Canada. That's the key one to me. Samsung is huge. Microsoft is huge. The fact that he was a marketing director at Red Bull Canada was the first thing. Like, okay, this is interesting. PHIVIDA is a drink company. It's a drink company where CBD infused drinks really aren't that popular just yet. We know about them, but it's still at the beginning of that trend. So bringing someone in who's done this before with Red Bull was really interesting. But then February 28th, we had the signing of, or they had, I should say, James Bailey. James Bailey was the former president of Red Bull Canada. So now you've got the former president of Red Bull Canada, and you've got the former marketing director of Red Bull Canada. Those are huge news in themselves. You've got two people who've done it before, two people who have a lot of connections in this business, but the really big one, the one that was actually announced on YouTube, of all things, that I've never heard of a joint venture between two companies ever been announced on YouTube before an actual news release. It came out at 10 o'clock at night. But that was between WeedMD and PHIVIDA. They joined into a partnership for CanBev, where they're going to be bringing their CBD-infused products and their drinks into Canada through WeedMD, and will be selling them now all throughout North America. That's a big deal. I mean, the CBD-infused market is huge. I'm trying to think of which member we had who was in our cannabis chat, was just saying they were out west at a conference talking about CBD-infused products and drinks and things like that. And he said it was huge. I mean, there were so many different products and so many different options. I really think that besides the whole cannabis flower that you smoke, besides the medical, besides the oils, these CBD-infused foods and drinks, we haven't even scratched the surface of how big that market's going to be. So it's really, really interesting to start seeing these companies start coming out. I think PHIVIDA has, they have the opportunity to be a big company in that space. And now, when you're dealing with WeedMD, which is a really large LP in Canada as well, they now have entrance into Canada where we're going to have a completely legalized system in just a few months. That's a big deal. So that was a really, really cool company to look into. Again, I am an investor, so that's not something I'm saying to buy them, sell them, or hold them, but it is something to look into. There's some really interesting points there. So get onto the website, look at their investor presentation, look at their stock price, see if something's for you, but it's definitely one that I really like. It's interesting. So we'll see what comes of them the next few months.